Lisa, one of the things that I kind of accidentally decided it about Chalemos. When I thought about forming Chalemos, a lot of it was formed by getting rid of the things that I didn't like about other groups that I'd belonged to. So I'm laughing about it because it's not exactly the most positive way of forming a group. I didn't kind of go, oh, I want a group where we do this and where we do that and where we want that. I didn't go that way. I kind of went, I want a group where we don't do that and we don't do that and we don't do that. And I guess that's a fair enough way of forming something. And as a result, it's an alternative. And one of the things that I realized I didn't like about some groups and the way they do things is that there was a theme. And as you know, we don't have a theme at Chalemos. What's your take on that? That when you turn up to Chalemos, there is no theme. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Is it a bit random? Do you think?
I think having a theme or having an idea of something that you need to talk about ultimately can hold you back, because people can see that as homework, and if they haven't done their homework or they haven't learned certain vocabulary for that theme, they might come and feel inadequate, or worse than that, they might just not come at all. Yeah. And sometimes they're not coming to a Chala, then that person might go on to think, oh, I missed out, or everybody would have known that vocabulary and I didn't do it, and I wonder if they all know it and I don't. But the reality is they probably don't know it and the other person doesn't. But the fact that something has stopped somebody coming to a Chala, yes, and then it's easy to go on and say, oh, I don't know the next theme, and I haven't had time to do that, and I think I won't bother. And then people get out of the habit of coming to a Chala, yes, and then and it's very hard to get back into it. So I think that the fact that it's just open, people can talk about any topic they want to talk about, is really helpful. Yeah,
yeah. I'd never really kind of considered that way. I knew that I wasn't very positive about the idea of having a theme. My take on it was it's kind of like a way of forcing you to learn new vocabulary. If the topic is going to be students being taxed in America, or relieving them of their tax obligations as students, suddenly you've got to learn all these words. And at one level you might go, oh, well, that's good. That makes people, learn new words. But to me, the question is, well, are they words that person is going to use in everyday conversation? And you must have the experience of words that, you only use them occasionally. And if you can't remember them, does it really matter? Because they're not used frequently anyway. So to me, it's more important that I don't mind that we talk about the weather repeatedly and then get really fluent. Like I was trying to talk about today being a sunny day, and I think it's soleado, is it? Can't quite remember. And I'd rather be able to say soleado, and have it just come straight out of my head without thinking about it, than being able to talk about whether it's an admirable thing to relieve students of their obligation to pay back their student loans.
Because then it's sort of, and depending on the topic, certain topics. I mean, when I talk to people in Chalas, everybody's got different hobbies and pastimes, and some people sew, and some people play the piano, and some people like to walk, and other people swim, and not everybody's going to be interested in the same topic. So being able to talk about what you want to talk about, that's what we do. That's what we do in real life. I mean, imagine if you turned up at a party and the host said, okay, here's your list of topics. This is what you have to talk about this evening. I'll pour you a glass of wine and you can start, with your first topic, and it's bird watching. Off you go and find somebody new. I mean, who would really do that in real life? You don't do that.
Awesome.
I mean,
I wouldn't. Metaphor.
Yes, sort of.
Yes. because coming along to Chalemos is a little bit like going to a party. And that's exactly the spirit and the feeling that I would like there to be. And when you are turning up to for the first time, it is kind of like, it is like going to a party where you don't know anyone. But I take on the role as I am the host of the party. I'm not a Spanish teacher, and I'm not at the C2 level by any stretch in terms of my Spanish, but I enjoy other people's company and I enjoy the opportunity to chat. That's why it's called Charlemos, let's chat. It's not called Enseñemos, let's learn. I love that metaphor. Yeah. And the other thing I realized from this conversation as well is that by talking about ourselves and our own interests, we repeat, you know, and we get to talk to different people in Charlemos, right? So because we have 3 different turns, or you can talk about, you know, with the same person occasionally as well. But if we're saying the same things over and over again, that can only help our fluency in Spanish, because we're just using over and over again the words that we already know. Sure, at times we're discovering words that we don't know, useful words to us, but also I just really like the idea that by saying over and over again, for me, for example, I used to teach public speaking, and I realized that there's a relationship between fear of public speaking and fear of speaking a foreign language and whatever, because that's what people ask me about, you know, my career and things like that. And so I've got better and better at saying those things. In other words, using what I already know rather than learning new stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I could learn the word for student loan and for tax and for I don't know, elimination or whatever it is, the concept of relieving someone, you know. But I think it's better for me to be able to say, I had an interest in helping people overcome their fear of speaking in public, and now I've set up this group because I want to help people overcome their fear of speaking a foreign language, you know, and I want to be able to say that quickly and fluently. And if I say it many times, then I'm going to do that. I'm repeating and repeating, and it's becoming almost like muscle memory, right?
Yeah.
Like someone hitting a tennis ball. As opposed to learning. So I think by not having themes, again, we've got this contrast between using what you already know as opposed to learning more. And for the moment, I'm happy just to get good at using what I already know rather than learning more.
Yeah, I mean, in the hour, so we would have 3 sessions, sort of one-to-one sessions with another learner. And in that hour, I, more often than not, have the same conversation 3 times.
Yes.
Sort of. I use the same, you know, it's what have you been doing today? What are you doing this weekend? And I have the same conversation with 3 different people. And by the time you get to the 3rd person, you feel like you've improved on some of the vocabulary that you've only been sort of, saying for that hour.
Yes.
I really think that, and I think it's a good thing. You are repeating yourself.
Yes.
But you're not repeating yourself to the same person for an hour.
Exactly.
To 3 different people.
Yes.
So you're as interesting to somebody at the end of the hour as you were at the beginning. I mean, if they find you interesting, they might not. But you can tell a joke 3 times to the same person, and it's not funny by the 2nd or 3rd.
No.
You can tell a joke 3 times to 3 different people, and it's still as funny as it was the first time you told it.
Absolutely.
It's a bit like that.
It is like that. Yes, it is. Yeah. And we have possibly there's some sort of resistance to repeating ourselves. In writing, we're told don't repeat the same word, use different words, be interesting, as it were. But repetition, we hear this over and over again. It's repeated to us that repetition is the key. Yet we have this abhorrence to a degree, or we've been told, don't repeat yourself. Well, actually, no, in language learning, do repeat yourself. So
Exactly.
yeah, for people
Yeah.
that come along to a charla for the first time and they're kind of going, oh, what on earth do I talk about? Well, we're just interested in your life. We're interested in where you live, what you do, what you enjoy about life, why you're learning Spanish. There's many things to explore with other people in this group, and we're doing it in Spanish. So we have a common format, we have a common language, but we have a commonality as a group of people, which means it's not like going to a party where you might feel, oh, I'm not a very interesting person to these other people. That doesn't really matter, because we're actually here to help each other with our Spanish. And so your experience, whatever it is, your background is just as valid as anyone else's experience.
Yeah.
Because we're all learning Spanish, and people want to hear you speaking in Spanish because that's helping them with their listening. It doesn't really matter what the
exactly.
It doesn't matter what the content is at all. Content is the important thing.
And another thing about it is that, if you come to a charla quite often, it's a combination of meeting people you've never spoken to before. So you're going back to that initial vocabulary about where you live, what you do, your hobbies and things like that. Two, then, you might be in a conversation with somebody that you know quite well. And so you might have a conversation about, a deeper topic.
Yes.
And you might not know the vocabulary for that. So then in the meantime, you can just be looking that up. So it's on lots of different levels just by having that 15-minute conversation, and it's random, isn't it? On Zoom.
It is. Yeah.
With somebody, nobody knows who they're going to be with.
Yeah.
And you don't have time to prepare really. But if it is somebody new, you're talking about, introducing yourself. And if it's somebody you've spoken to, a number of times, you might actually even carry on a conversation that you were having with them 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
About something.
Last time I spoke to you, you said that you were going to go to the UK and visit your father and things like that. How did that go, Lisa? And exactly. Off we go. And that's wonderful. Yeah. Or with, like today, Anita's there for the first time. It's like, okay, so where do you live? What has you learning Spanish? Things like that. It's, and people are interesting. And in a way, Charlemos is a kind of just artificial immersion, isn't it? We're artificially immersing each other.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's sort of, you don't even have to do that. You don't even have to say, well, now you're going to speak on this level. Now you're going to use, some other vocabulary for this. You don't even have to do any of that.
I just don't want to.
You're just in a breakout room, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't want to go near that stuff. And we joke about the subjunctive. Oh, dirty word. In fact, Lisa T said pudiera today, and I went, woo! I said we should have an exploding fireworks when someone uses the subjunctive. We can get away without using the subjunctive. It doesn't matter if someone conjugates it incorrectly or whatever. The whole thing is about flow and getting comfortable. And basically just doing it more and more and more. And some of the people that have influenced my learning of Spanish, particularly Caro Martinez in Español Automático, who has studied language learning, and she's originally Polish, lives in Barcelona, speaks like a native, and can speak English and French. And I think they're working on Hungarian, and she has studied language learning. And she and her husband Mauro have a lot to say about the unusefulness of being corrected constantly while you're trying to speak, and that's why we don't do it here. And it's relieving, isn't it? It's refreshing. You can just get on with it, and you get better and better. And just like I don't constantly correct my grandson with his speaking of English, he's 2 and he's just learning. We just say it the correct way or continue the conversation. We know over time he'll get it. There is no rush, and it does take a while. So turning up to charlas as often as possible is a good thing, isn't it? You know, just
Yeah, I think the more trials you come to, the better, because
yeah,
it just gives you so much more, and you do gain confidence, and you even sort of gain confidence by knowing you're saying something
correctly.
incorrectly.
Oh, incorrectly.
No, incorrectly.
Okay.
And knowing that the other person probably knows but won't correct you. It's sort of, there's something about that gives you confidence. I know that sounds a bit strange,
Yeah.
but
Well, to know that no one's going to try and fix you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think being corrected, although it might be being done with the most positive intentions, right? It can still create feelings of inadequacy and smallness and hurt.
Yeah.
And for some of us who have had difficult experiences as learners with difficult teachers, it can just remind us, take us back to being criticized by a harsh teacher, leader in a church, parent, brother or sister, who knows? The process of learning, the tough thing about the process of learning is a lot of it happened when we were children. And we were really vulnerable to how adults treated us. And those memories, they stay.
Yeah.
And I think
that's it. And being corrected by somebody else.
Yeah, no matter how hard they
take
try.
you forward. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Unless you're asking for it.
Unless you're
saying,
asking for
how,
it. And when I have my session,
different.
when I have my session with my teacher, it's like, I would. This is what
Fair
I
enough.
want.
Yeah.
This is what I want you to do. But I couldn't have the conversations with her that I have here. Yeah. Well, this is fantastic, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that, because I get that for people wanting to come to a chala or thinking about it, there is absolutely justifiably nervousness about the idea of what is it going to be like? Am I going to be good enough? Am I going to embarrass myself? Will I feel stupid? Will I hold people back? All that kind of thing. All of those things, they make sense that you ask those questions, but what we're doing here at Chalemos is lowering the bar, making it so accessible, so easy, that we hope that very soon after attending a few times, you realize that none of those things are important. What's important is your ability to use the Spanish that you've got and to just continue using it on a regular basis, so that fluency and a relaxed way of being with your Spanish is what happens to you, that you get some ownership and some ease. You get some ease with your Spanish. That's what we're aiming for.
And I think it's also about accepting yourself for who you are and what you know.
That's right.
Because it's, people often say, oh, I should know more, or I should be better than that, or I should have remembered that word and I didn't. And, you can sort of be very, you can judge yourself, and
absolutely
it's a negative thing to do. And I have to say, the vibe in this group, it's very open and very, it's very easy just to chat to people, and there's no judging and there's no self-judging, and there's nothing like that. It's a very easy environment to be in.
We're really accepting of each other. We've all been on that journey. We've all been in that place where we've felt the same anxiety about opening our mouths and engaging in a conversation in Spanish. And so I think to be taught, to experience, we're having experiences with other learners. And that's another reason why there aren't any native speakers here, is that we're all learners. So we're all in the same boat. No, we're not. We're in different boats, and some boats are ahead and some boats are over there, but we're all in a boat of some sort. We're all still floating on water, and we're never quite sure what's going to happen. So we know what it feels like. Because we're all learners, and so that empathy.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, nobody else's boat is a better boat than yours. They're
No.
just in their boat and you're just in yours, and that's it.
Exactly. And we all
Mm.
know that it's that we're in a boat and it moves around and the tide's coming. We're not quite sure what's going to happen. But that's part of the adventure of being in a boat. It's like, if you want to be absolutely safe, stay on dry land. If you want to be absolutely safe, don't learn Spanish, right? But
you just have to embrace, you just have to embrace it.
Embrace
and if you do that, you get more out of it.
Totally. And I'm delighted that people do come along, because we're all just helping each other with our Spanish. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for that. That was superb, and see you at the next Charlemos. Nos vemos pronto.
Bye for now.